Welcome to Rollin with Ray. You're probably asking yourself, why am I wearing this cowboy hat? Well, the reason is I want my next guest to feel welcome. I will be interviewing Michael Richardson, a real cowboy. Michael owns Broken R Ranch in Hico, Texas. At the age of 20 years old, Michael sustained a spinal cord injury as a result of a truck accident. Today, he is a paraplegic. He's paralyzed from the waist down, and he trains horses from his wheelchair. Michael is also a motivational speaker and is well known throughout the industry in horse training. Michael will share his story of how he overcame his adversity. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce you to Michael Richardson, the real cowboy. Michael, good to have you on the show today.
Man, Ray, it's good to be here. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to be on your show, part.
Well, I appreciate it. So, have you always been a cowboy?
In my heart, I have. As a little boy, I always, all my heroes were all cowboys, and with John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, and we could go on, but those two in particular. But I've always, in my heart, thought of myself as wanting to adhere to the cowboy sort of quote unquote standards, being good stewards of the land and the animals. And that's something that always drove me to kind of where I am today.
That's awesome. Did you always grow up on a ranch?
No, sir, I didn't. I grew up with horses, but I did not grow up on a ranch. Really, I grew up in Illinois, and I got to Texas just as quick as I could, and became a naturalized citizen, if you will. And so yeah, it's been great. Texas is home. I've been here a long time, and can't think of any other place I'd rather be. And so yeah, I grew up, like I say, I grew up with horses and was very, very blessed to have a wonderful family. And really, my dad instilled in me about horses and just taking care of them and what goes into that. And that has driven me and continues to drive me every day to be the best horseman that I can be, and continuing to be open to learning and sharing.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to be a cowboy. I grew up in the city, but my first experiences when riding a horse was when I was 7 years old. A friend of ours had a farm, and we went out and visited and got to ride a horse at the age of 7 years old. I still remember the horse's name was Trudy. I enjoyed the heck of riding that horse.
Isn't that awesome, part? I know what you mean. It's every time you can be around these phenomenal, animals. It's truly a blessing. I tell a lot of people that God put something so special in horses, that he deals with humans. And they take a lot of stuff from humans, and again, that drives me to try to continue to share and what horsemanship and that relationship's all about.
So, Michael, can you describe how you became a paraplegic?
Sure. Yeah, I was driving home one night, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I came over a little rise in the road, and to my surprise, there was a deer standing right in my lane. And the road was under construction, so it was not the best as far as stability. And I was driving a CJ7 Jeep and decided to try to swerve to miss the deer. And as I did that, I dropped my right front wheel off the shoulder and ended up rolling the Jeep end over end, was thrown out, and was crushed by it.
And that broke your back?
Yes, sir. Broke my back, a lot of internal injuries. All my ribs, my heart was badly damaged. And the least they were saying, or one of the least, was the fact that I broke my back. The heart was the major concern. And, I didn't really think I'd live, and here we are. So it's always a blessing. God's good, man.
Absolutely. God is great.
Yep.
So you're in the hospital bed, and in the back of your mind, did you ever think, or what did you think about, what's my future going to be like laying in this bed now, and now that I'm confined to a wheelchair? Did you ever imagine to do the things that you're doing today?
I would say yes and no. My dad, always raised me that you just keep going and you don't stop and you don't quit. And the fact that, I that was instilled in me as a little boy. And, one of his favorite sayings is, you run with what you brung. And I remember him sitting beside the bed and he told me that. And that just drove me, to try to do the best I can with the circumstances and try to make a difference. And so I really didn't stop, and I don't think I have as of yet stopped long enough to really dwell on the negatives. I always look for the positives, and I try to do that every single day I get up, and like I say, just blessed to see another day and be able to share and continue to learn from the horses and people, and then in turn share that. So, it was never a situation that I felt like I couldn't do something. And, as there's a lot of secondary issues that come with spinal cord injuries, and I've had my share of those, but never dwelled on what couldn't be or wouldn't be. I always looked at what could, how can I take this and better myself and help people.
So you're considered a paraplegic, paralyzed from the waist down. How long I'm sorry?
I am a T5, 6, and 7 originally.
Absolutely. Okay.
And little return, but really about right, maybe an inch below my sternum.
I see. How long did it take you to get back out on a horse?
I was back on a horse 5 months post-injury.
Wow, that's amazing. Did they have to do a special saddle strap, or how does that work? Can you explain to our viewers how you get on a horse?
Absolutely. Yes, I had to adapt some saddles, and I looked at it as a challenge, and really, the first few rides, it was actually, that's not even true. I had a chance to ride in a therapeutic program in Chicago 5 weeks post-injury. So
that's amazing.
That was really something, to be involved in riding in a PATH program. That's what they call it now. And that was really, spurred me to get better and to overcome the adversities. And so, yeah, that was great. But like you were saying, I did run into some frustration trying to adapt the saddles, and kind of bumped around with different saddles, different ideas. And then I finally met who is now a dear friend of mine, Travis Dittmer, who made a saddle for me and allows me to be able to ride to whatever extent that I so choose. And so it's really been something, and I wouldn't change a thing, really.
That's great. That's great. So you own a ranch called Broken R Ranch in Hico, Texas. Can you tell me a little bit about that ranch?
Yes, sir. We bought this place, and it was with the thought of being able to expand our clinic program and our workshops and have people come to us. And that was back in 05, and I was hurt again in 06, broke my back again, and laid me up for a while. So the ranch was set to try to get people to come to us more and not just travel like I did prior to that. And it's a place of healing for horses and people. And we do our best every day to try to welcome people and horses. And it's really been a blessing. And we've got some cattle and mainly horses, but do have some cattle, and it's just really been a dream.
Well, when I'm out to Hico, Texas one day, I'm going to make sure to stop by there.
Hey, Pard, open invitation to you, man.
Thank you very much. Can you describe how you train horses from your wheelchair? And is there a specific method?
Sure. I think that training from the chair in this perspective has really enlightened me in many ways. Surely as a horseman, and it's allowed me the time to develop a mindset that would be conducive to working horses from, the chair, and then on horseback as well. But the chair adds some interesting perspectives. Obviously, the movements are so different between myself and an able-bodied person that it's just been a journey, and it still is, to perfect the nuances of working with horses, focusing on the mind and the neuroscience behind the relationships between a horse and a human. But the thing really, more than anything with the chair, it's forced me to go slow. And I'd love to say that as an able-bodied person that I would have understood that, and I would go as slow as I do today, but I don't know that would really would have been and would be the case. So the chair has really enlightened me and allowed me to be able to observe more and put my mind and body in a spot that's going to be conducive when we're working horses at liberty, which is no physical connection to them, and developing the mind. And it's been it's really been an incredible opportunity, and one that I wouldn't change at all.
That's awesome. How do you handle a horse that is not listening to you or getting their attention?
I just back up and observe more. When we run into where a horse gets stuck and needs the time to process information, that I'll just kind of back up, break it down, and present it in another way that might be more conducive for that animal to be able to start thinking and processing, and try to draw the horse's attention and their mind towards me in such a way that it's their idea, and never set them up for failure, always set them up for success. And that's really the way that I've been approaching it. And I never want to get in a fight with a horse. Never want to get where I maybe got a halter and lead on them where they're pulling on me. We don't want that. It's just backing up, observing, and representing. And that's probably the most that I have seen working with horses that are tough, that need a little more time working from this perspective.
What type of horses do you train, and what is your typical day as far as training horses? Like, how many horses do you train a day?
Well, really, the main, we work with all horses, all breeds, but mainly a lot of quarter horses, thoroughbreds, warm bloods. And when I'm not, recovering from an injury, my day usually starts about 5 o'clock. And then I used to work, 6 to 10 horses a day, and now we backed off on that one. It's more like 5, depending, but it's the quality, not the quantity. And what I was doing before, working for other people, is I worked a lot of horses, but I found that was compromising the quality. So I've really backed up and really try to work a few horses, but with higher quality.
Do you also train people to ride horses?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure do. A lot of my clientele, probably 99% of my clientele, is all able-bodied. And the things that I've learned riding from this perspective, and the understanding movement of a horse and movement of a human, and how do you present the two to bring them together with one mind and one body, has been incredibly rewarding to see that with people that are able-bodied, and developing that connection to a greater extent with their animals, has really been an incredible experience.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. You've been a Purina, is it Purina?
Yeah, Purina, yes, sir.
Purina ambassador for the past 20 plus years. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
explain to our viewers what that is?
Yes, sir. Purina Mills makes incredible horse feed and do a lot of incredible things with their research facility in Missouri. And I grew up feeding Purina to our horses. And when I was approached back in well, it was 97, but really 99. Um, I met a gentleman at an expo. It's kind of a long story, so I'll break it down now so it isn't quite as long. I was at an expo in Louisville, Kentucky, and I worked with a horse that really was something. It was a thoroughbred gelding, and put him in the pen and let him go, and he immediately runs around and is kicking out at me, and then he stopped and reared and all these things, and that just drew people to the arena. It's kind of like why do people go to a hockey game, you know?
Right.
So it was really, really incredible that all these people came and they're all holding their breath and I'm working with this horse and he and I are working at developing a relationship and a line of communication and all these things. And he was just doing great and ended on a really good note, real soft, real open to working with me and working with his owners. And so that was a delight. But in the process of that, I was met at the gate by the gentleman at that time that handled all of the Prina ambassadors, influentials, and he gave me a card. And along with the card, he asked me if I could come and see somebody. And I said, absolutely. So I rolled out and kind of worked through all the people that were there. And Prina was sponsoring this arena, and it was the checkerboard arena. And they had at the time this trailer that was a museum. And so I roll over that way, and there's this little boy in this little yellow quickie wheelchair, and he saw me, and the crowd kind of opened up. His mom and dad were saying, so he could get a real straight view of me in the pen with this horse. And he said, "Look, mommy, someone just like me." And
That's awesome.
man, it was absolutely awesome, and that defined really at that moment what I was going to do and make a difference. And so I was given a card. Well, I was on the road for 3 weeks. When I got home, I called this gentleman, and we met at the Paint World in Fort Worth, and we're sitting there watching a stallion halter class. And nothing against watching halter horses, but it's kind of like watching paint dry. And so I'm sitting there, and he's telling me, we really like what you're doing, and we've got a relationship with NARA, which was North American Riding for the Handicap, and now it's called PATH. And he said, we'd really like to see if you'd like to be involved in developing that relationship and being involved with Prina Mills. Well, without thinking too much, I paused a minute and I said, I really appreciate that, but I'm working really hard to establish my own identity. And at that point, Ray, I thought, man, I just kicked myself in the butt. I said, man, I just this one is done, And he sat there, and it seemed like 15, 30 minutes went by. It was only a matter of seconds. He says, okay. He says, so you're still interested? And I said, holy smokes, am I ever. So I signed on with Prina Mills in August of 99. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with such a great company, great people, and go around and share horsemanship with their dealer base, all of their clients. So, I went from working for the private sector to working for the, public in a major way overnight.
That's a great story. That's awesome. That's a
That's
great.
what it's all about, Bart. I tell you, it's been
That's
a
great.
blessing.
So you're a motivational speaker. What is the message that you send to your audience when you go speak?
Get off dead center and make a difference. John Wayne had a quote, and I just love it. Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway.
That's
And
awesome.
I think that, you and I know you can attest to this, when you're talking to able-bodied people and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but they're complaining about their back and they're complaining about their life. And you know what? Quit complaining. Life is awesome. And you've got to enjoy every single moment of what life has to offer.
Absolutely. I always tell people that if they're complaining, you know what? Come walk in my shoes a day, and I guarantee you'll stop complaining.
Amen, man. That's it.
So,
Exactly.
Michael, I've got one last question. What is one thing that you could say about Broken Arm Ranch to our folks that are listening?
Come visit. Yeah, come out and visit. Watch us work with horses, and it'll change your life, man.
Well, Michael, it's been a pleasure having you on my podcast called Rollin with Ray. I appreciate you, and keep doing the great things that you're doing in Hico, Texas.
Well, you're a good man, Ray, and you're making a difference. And it's been an honor to be on your show. And I look forward to future opportunities to get with you. And man, come visit. Call me anytime, and get out to Hico and come by and spend a day with me.
Thank you so much. Should you have any comments or questions, please contact me at raysertabook@gmail.com, or you can go to my website at www.thelifeididn'texpect.com. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and of course my YouTube channel called Rollin with Ray. Also, if you're looking for a good read to read this holidays, please pick up my book called The Life I Didn't Expect, Facing Adversity and Winning. The book is on Amazon. Again, thank you for watching and listening. And until I see you again, thank you very much.